Hey guys, welcome back to Kuma Reviews. We've got a two from MakeToys. They're TFCon convention exclusive so far. This one was what was it? Was it spring? And I don't remember, was it Baltimore that it was at? Spring 2022, Baltimore? I think that was it. But regardless of the location, it was spring. This is MTRM-EX04 Skyclone, and this is from the recent TFCon, the summer Canada one. MTRM-EX02 Ion Swarm. So, really cool stuff. I know that this one is an homage to the Rainmaker Ion Storm. And I believe he's Hot Link, but I am not sure. But again, Skyclone, Ion Swarm, and this is part of their MakeToys MTRM-EX line. So, unlike the original Seekers that they did, these come with more in terms of accessories. So you can see in the back, I've got two of each of these or whatever. They come with stands. Underneath the stands, let's see if we can zoom in. Okay. Additional faces, as well as blast effects there. So really cool stuff. And then, of course, the adapters for the stand. And on top, you got the null rays here. You can switch those out. These were with the previous MTRM Seekers. You have the missiles here too. So if you want that style instead of the full-on null rays, just pop these out, pop these in, and boom. So really quick, we'll go ahead and go over the differences between these and the previous releases, because they started the MTRM-EX line with Acid Swarm, which is their homage to Acid Storm, but these actually feature some changes even past that. So this is like an EX of an EX line. Like, it's cool that they've continued to make improvements and stuff like that throughout, but let's look at that real quick and get to reviewing these guys. All right, and here is Ion Swarm on the right, next to the previously released Acid Swarm. So this is the first in the MTRM-EX. It's appropriately numbered, MTRM-EX01. So this one is more of a bridge between kind of the original Seekers and where they're at now. The main differences, like the body's still the same and stuff like that, this one still has the old hands of the previous Seekers. And let's see if we can zoom in here. So, boom. All right. So, partially articulated, this trigger finger, index finger, has 2 points of articulation. The rest, they're all just curved and on one, a bend at the knuckle. No articulation in the thumb. And we'll go ahead and look at Ion Swarms over here. Full articulation in all of the fingers, including the thumb. Ball joints at the knuckles, so you can actually get some spread in there. And these are pretty good about popping off too, but you can see multiple points of articulation in each one. 2 points of articulation, well, 1 point in the thumb, and then 2 in each of the fingers. And of course, they all bend at the knuckle, so in case you can't see that. Boom, boom. But yeah, each finger individual. And the last, and I would say probably the most significant difference to me, is the new faces. All right, so we're gonna try to get these as close to each other as possible. They're pretty wide figures with the wings and stuff like that. So let's focus and then brighten this up as much as we can without getting it too bright. All right, so on all of the new MTRM-EX figures, they come with these more, I don't know how to describe the color of gray, but more of a flat gray face. And the details, in my opinion, on the newer faces are a lot softer. Where this one, you can, I mean, it's so sharp that you could even see cheekbones and things like that. That's how all of the old faces are, no matter what the colors are. But all of the newer MTRM-EX ones, they are going to come with these faces, because I've also got like the Meteor, Sky Crow, and Lightning Starscream, Thundercracker, Skywarp, and I can confirm that they're all this face. Alright, and since we're on the subject of heads and faces and stuff like that, the newer MTRM-EX figures also come with a larger head. It was a complaint that these generic heads are kind of small. I personally have zero problem with it. I'm not the biggest Seeker guy though, so that might be part of it, that I'm more of a casual fan in that regard, but let's go ahead and pop this head off. And then the faces, they just pull off, so. And I'm tapping it in on the other face. And honestly, I'm going to be real with you. These newer heads are a joke. So, they're bigger. But then, you've got the same size faces. And a lot of the size comes from the forehead. So I'm actually going to get higher here, so you guys can see more from my perspective. Now, if they would have just upscaled the whole thing and had 3 additional faces and stuff like that, I think that would have been a lot better, because I like what they're going for with the general head size. But when you've got like this super huge, super long forehead and then the same size face, he just looks more like a brainiac than, you know, an actual upscaled head, you know. So there's a lot of hate on him and stuff like that, and rightfully so, but some of the conversation I've seen on TFW and stuff like that, you would think that these are the only head that they came with, and it's an option. So the bright side of it is that if you don't like these heads, like I don't, just use the other heads. And alright, since the base mold of these has been around for years, that doesn't mean that everyone has had the chance to check these out in person, so I'll treat it as if it's relatively new to you. So height, we're at just under 8 inches tall. All right, and I'm not using any ab crunch or anything like that, so it's a pretty straight up pose. So I feel like the height is honest there, basic A stance. And I love the coloring on Ion Swarm. Like, it's killer. It's killer. Even though I'm kind of worn out with the use of this mold, I mean, they're really doing, you know, doing the right thing in terms of differentiating them and stuff like that. So, can't complain too much. Oh, put that one up. Okay. And we'll go ahead and use this guy as our guinea pig for the articulation. Alright, ball joint head. Pretty simple stuff. Can hit a 360 there. Up and down. Not a lot of up and down. Could be better. Alright, shoulders. The wings can move. It's weird. They're ratchets, but I think they're like 8 points. But in between, it's friction. So I like it. Like, it has hard points, but you can still get it wherever you want. That's neat. All right, bicep swivel. It does have 360 bicep swivel, but if you have the blasters attached to the arms, obviously that's not going to work. All right. Elbow bend. Okay. And that is double jointed. Hands, 360. No rocking. We already went over the finger articulation. The waist does have 360 swivel there, but there's just a lot going on, so I'm not trying to do all that. He does have ab crunch. All right. A good amount of ab crunch too. Now, when it comes to the skirts, boom, 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 okay. And the back skirt does go out too, so frontwards, it's crazy. Well, I guess there's a knee bend, double jointed knees. Backwards, outwards. All right. Thigh swivel, Does it do 360? Yes, it does. If you feel like I should know that, it's been a while since I've messed with these guys. But again, there's knee bend. It has inward ankle tail, no outward. There's no movement in the foot, like the foot itself, because the transformation can like go forward and stuff like that, but it doesn't have like that foot swing. So let's get him back in order. Get those skirts right. Now, one thing I will say, these do have a great amount of articulation. And I think between these, Deformation Space, Takara, these are the only ones with like waist swivel and stuff like that. So I'm surprised that hasn't become a standard thing, but I'm sure that there's a good amount of fans that appreciate the, I don't know what it's called, the slavish nature of having the nose cone like go all the way through consistently with no breaks and stuff like that, because it does take some malformation or whatever to get that articulation. And I know they're not side by side, but you know, these are just wide figures, but just so you can get a general idea of scale to other Masterpiece scale figures, MP36 Megatron, Magic Square, MS01, Light of Freedom, and of course Skyclone, Iron Swarm. So scale pretty well. Alright, now looking at the alt modes. You know, there are big time jet fanatics and stuff like that who will say that these are either good or bad in terms of accuracy and stuff like that. I am not one of those people, so I don't have a statement in that regard, but I've always liked the general look of them. But at the same time, there aren't really any Masterpiece scaled Seekers I haven't liked in alt mode, so yeah, again, casual Seeker fan. Alright. Now just looking at some of the effect pieces. You just peg these on the front. Boom. Boom. So, neat addition. I'm not a huge effect piece person in general on like any toys, but I mean, they're neat. And I was talking to you guys earlier about the missile option. There we go. If you want to see how that looks. Boom. Okay. Get that back in. Get that back in place. And the stand itself, multiple levels. 2 points here, up and down. And then this other point. And they're good strong ratchets too, and they peg in pretty well. So the way that this works is that piece that I showed you at the beginning. Let's see if I can unpeg there. Unpeg this here. Get this out of the way. There we go. Alright. It's a lot easier to put in than take out, which is a good thing. In fact, that's perfect. That's what you want. But you got the bottom of it here, and then you see these two holes. This goes under the nose cone and puts it in, boom, and it just pegs in. Alright, now getting this all cleaned up. That's just something I wish was different about these in general. Like the alt mode, I've always felt like these wings come out pretty easy. Well, I wouldn't say easy because they don't just fall out of place, but you know what I mean. But that's how that goes. And now, take a look at Skyclone. And their color selection is just, yeah, I dig it. Still way too many Seekers for me, but I like what they've done with them. They definitely all feel, you know, individual, special, whatever you want to call it. And for the sake of things. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. See if we can get the camera a little higher. Maybe if we angle them downwards. I'll give you guys a better view. Yeah. All right, and closing this out again, this is MakeToys' MTRM-EX02 Ion Swarm and MTRM-EX04 Skyclone. They're just 2 Ion Storm and what I believe is Hot Link. In the end, I really actually like what they're going for. I'm not the biggest Seeker guy in the world, but these are really different. I like the improvements that they've made in terms of like the hands and the accessories, the stand, well, the effect pieces, because to talk about the accessories, the additional larger head, not the biggest fan of that. Well, I'm not a fan of that at all. I think it's atrocious looking, but again, it's an option. I wish that they stuck with the old faces and the paint on the old faces. For me, they just look a lot sharper, like I said during the review, but overall, these are good. I think the biggest thing is going to be comparing the EX versions of the original 3, Meteor, Skycrow, and Lightning, to the originals, because like I said, they're improvements, but those faces are actually huge. It's not that these are bad, but the ones that they had previously are great. But for these, since there's nothing to say, oh, they changed it from this to this, these are definitely all right. Now with the articulated hands, I do like them, but I wish that these were implemented at the beginning of the line, because they had to kind of work with the old hand space because of the way the transformation works and stuff like that. And I think that if they made the transformation around full-on fleshed out articulated hands, they could have been a lot less fidgety than they are right now, because the fingers, they don't pop out easily or anything like that, but they are a bit spindly and stuff like that, like odd to play with. Almost like the fingers are just, they're more trouble than what they're worth because of the size of them, if that makes sense. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Again, MTRM-EX02 Ion Swarm, EX04 Skyclone, TFCon, Summer TFCon 2022, Spring TFCon 2022, both TFSource exclusives. I think they're still on sale right now. Link will be in the description so you can check on whether they are or aren't. Hey, thanks for watching. Be well, stay safe, see you next time.